Hello and welcome to the September 21st, 2025 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we're putting money into this project of ours. We're live every Sunday, and we thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from sites like goodnewsnetwork.org and goodgoodgood.co. We appreciate everything sent in by you, the Nick's Newsies. Yes, there's something different about this episode. I wonder what that is. Could it be a haircut? No, I haven't gotten a haircut yet. Could it be something new in the room? No, most everything's been in the room for several episodes now. Oh, I'm wearing a onesie. We all know what happened the last time I was wearing a onesie. I made a bet with Producer Donna, and I was reminded why, once again, you don't make bets with Producer Donna. Producer Donna came to me and she said, we've got a lot of Wholesome Notes. And I was like, bet you can't make an episode entirely out of Wholesome Notes. Well, I was wrong, and here we are, doing a onesie episode. That's right, tonight is a onesie episode, one category. It's all Wholesome Notes. The entire episode will be Wholesome Notes, and because I lost, I'm in a onesie. A Godzilla onesie of all. It's the Godzilla 2014 onesie. Becky is sick tonight. Seeing Nick in a onesie makes them feel better. I'm glad that you feel better, Becky. Dirty Rogue notes my Godzilla onesie. Nico loves it. Joseph, why do you still make bets? Joseph, I don't know. I really don't know at this point. But yeah, we've got this really neat Godzilla onesie. So, that's how we're going to do the episode. I'm going to roast to death in this thing, but if it's for everyone else's enjoyment, so be it. Let's get into our news brew. As if my kaiju-themed onesie wasn't enough, our news brew for the episode wanted to get in on the action. Fresh from New Holland Brewing Company, say hello to Dragon's Milk Reserve Coconut Rum Barrel. That's right, once again, New Holland Brewing is partnering up with Dungeons and Dragons to bring special lines of their special product lines to the forefront. This is the Dragon Turtle. It is a rum barrel-aged Imperial Stout, clocking in at 11%, sailing on the sea of swords. It's a limited release, so if you can, go get it before it sinks back into the depths. Julie says, look out, Tokyo, Nickzilla is on the loose. So, because we have a bottle, we need the Battle Song bottle opener, which hasn't gotten much love, and we are going to drink this Imperial Stout out of the first Dragon's Milk Tiku glass. This was released for Triple Mash many years ago. I picked up one of these, and I absolutely love drinking Dragon's Milk Stouts out of it. I have a bunch of Tiku glasses from them, but this is the original, so we'll go with that. Becky, it's okay to nurse a big stout all night. Like, there is no problem with nursing Dragon's Milk and other big stouts all night. We'll get into the theatrics of a 5-minute pour. Straight pour, sacrilegious, I know, but I want to get all that gas out. Dragon's Milk is never too heavy, in my opinion. Head clears up pretty fast on it. Ooh, that rum. Oh boy, that rum. This is going to be a good one. All right, shout-outs. Family Craft Farm is all about cultivating a sustainable lifestyle that they're proud to share with their growing family and their community. They believe in providing high-quality, clean, unique products designed with sustainability. I don't think we actually kept this one in. Producer Donna, did we keep this shout out in or were we duplicate? I think I remember we took this one out for this week. In the description, I don't think this one's in there, but I'll keep going because Family Craft Farm's pretty cool. Nope. Yeah, I kept it on my main page. That's okay. So Family Craft Farm believes in providing high-quality, clean, unique products designed with sustainability and quality and only partner with companies who put the earth and people's health first for their products. You can check out their website for their new autumn candles. That's really nice. So yeah, I ran into one of the owners of Family Craft Farm when I was in Muskegon once, and they had an amazing sales pitch. They've got a great program going on. So to them, cheers. Kaiju approved. Oh my god, the rum is great. I had some amazing rum this weekend. This is good rum in a good beer. Sbmowing has released a follow-up on Instagram with Edgar and Ivy Cat Rescue. It's been a year since Spencer found an injured stray cat in one of the yards that he was cleaning up. Rescuing the cat led to rescuing the shelter that the yard belonged to itself. We've included the link in the Instagram story if you would like to catch up on how SB, ESBEE, the cat is doing and what Edgar and Ivy has been able to do with the donations from amazing people like Nick Snoozies and others from around the world. To Spencer at Sbmowing, and to Edgar and Ivy Cat Rescue, and Esby the Cat. Cheers. Did someone say rum? Yes, they said rum. It's like a fine wine. Alright. Last but not least, Nick Snoozies has a notification list that you can join if you would like reminders about upcoming shows and events. As with all of our various outlets, we offer exclusive content to our notification subscribers. Each Wednesday, you get a special treat. If you are part of the notification list, you would have received the following, and mind you, it had nothing to do with this episode and the fact I'm wearing this. This came about after Producer Donna had planned this notification months in advance. Happy Wednesday. Up from the depths, 30 stories high, breathing fire, his head in the sky, Nick Zilla, and Donna Zuki. Nick Zilla. See you Sunday. That's right, that is the Hanna-Barbera theme of the Godzilla cartoon that they had years and years ago with a Nick twist, a Nick and Producer Donna twist. If you would like to receive these reminders on Facebook or Discord, let us know and we will get things coordinated. We do not share or sell your information to anybody, ever. We don't do that. All we use it for is just sending you a notification now and then to let you know about our upcoming episodes. You can email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com, message us on Facebook, message Producer Donna on Discord, or, there are a million ways to get a hold of us if you want to be added to the list. It's pretty neat. Becky, I did probably see the response. Producer Donna's been going through the chat a lot more than I have, but I will double check for it. All right. News quote. Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. This is from the 14th Dalai Lama, the highest spiritual leader and head of Tibetan Buddhism. I think I spelled Buddhism wrong I'm going to have to fix that in the description. And that came from the Dalai Lama's book, The Art of Happiness. And I absolutely love that quote. Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. In some way, shape, or form, we all are looking for love and compassion. We all need it. And we must have it, or else we will not continue forward. So thank you to the 14th Dalai Lama. Cheers. Oh, it's a good beer. This is going to be a good episode. Bug update. I was mistaken. Previously, I made a claim that Elmira was done bulldozing her home. She wasn't. She's still capable of demolishing everything. even more than I expected. Her latest bout of tunneling has almost completely submerged one of the bark hides that she had. It's almost buried, so I don't know if that's how she wants it, or just it's a sad sacrifice to be made in the progress of her burrow. I'm not sure, but she buried the darn thing. Ripley has been moving about and has been really active, which has been really cool to see. She used to be clinging really hard onto one of the pieces of cork bark that came from her old home, but now more often I actually notice that she's back behind the bigger piece of cork bark that we bought for her, so I'm glad that she's made that transition to the bigger hide. Sue has been a bit more active. I've seen him out more, but each time I go to get a picture, he scampers back into his hide before I can. I did notice before the broadcast that he is at least mostly out of his hide, which again, his home is way back here. If you see him crawling around, please post scorpions or Sue in the chat. Given how scared he is and how much more I see the roaches in their home, which is right here, I might just start taking pictures of them and fawning over them, and maybe that will make Sue jealous. Who knows? Christian says, Elmira is true dwarfkin. Just get her some ale and she's set, I reckon. I'm not going to give one of my scorpions ale, but interesting idea. Okay, so it is Wholesome News Night. We have 9 wholesome articles. There's no categories. It's all just wholesome news. And we hope you enjoy. I thoroughly did going through these. We had 11 to start with. Producer Donna and I had to pare that down. The 2 that we didn't use are going to get used on future episodes, but 11 wholesome notes pared down to 9 is pretty good. We're going to start off with our first article, Giving All You've Got. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Yes, if I did give ale to the scorpion, I would take it. When this landlord died, he donated all of his rental properties to homeless people in need of housing. This was published to goodgoodgood.co on August 28th of 2025 by Cameron Baker. On July 31st, the Wisconsin-based housing nonprofit Pillars received the largest property donation they had ever been given. It came in the name of Richard Dick Reitz, a landlord who died in June at the age of 97. He donated his entire real estate, including 20 units across 10 properties, which increased the organization's property portfolio by 26%. Pillars is an organization that works to relieve bottlenecks in the housing crisis by keeping people out of shelters and in stable housing. Right now, the organization manages a number of affordable housing properties near Appleton, Wisconsin, and operates 2 crisis housing centers that serve approximately 148 people at any given time. With Reitz's donation, the organization will be able to provide even more affordable housing to people who need it most. This transformative gift expands Pillars' reach in a meaningful way, helping to serve more individuals and families working towards stability and a place to call home, said Steve Williams, board president of Pillars. Reitz was a resident of Appleton his entire life and was a landlord for over 50 years. According to his obituary, he operated his rentals on handshakes and goodwill, sometimes at his own cost. A statement from Pillars added that his goal as a landlord was to invest in tenants who were often trying to find a place to land on their feet. Dick gave people a chance when others would not, said Reitz's stepson, Joe Frank. He cared about his tenants' stories and wanted to help get them on their feet. He had a genuine interest in people. Along with his work as a landlord, Reitz was also the owner of Reitz Engineering. Yeah! And had an illustrious career selling engineering materials and building business relationships. Because of this, he was also a financial supporter of a variety of local charities. In his death, he had also established various charitable funds with the Community Foundation of the Fox Valley Region Incorporated. The donations of his properties is especially important, as Williams told Fox 11 News that there is no end to the need for housing there. For the current tenants of Rietz's properties, they will work with Pillars to find the next best place for them, which may be right within the same community. According to a statement from the organization, Pillars will integrate the properties with a mindful approach to current tenants' unique situations. Frank added that toward the end of his life, Rietz was approached by developers looking to purchase his properties, but that isn't the legacy he wanted to leave behind. Donating these units to Pillars was the only solution he had in his heart, Frank said. The last thing he wanted was to displace people. Representatives from Pillars say the new properties will help them house an estimated 40 people. Pillars executive director Lisa Strandberg said Pillars is very proud to carry on Richard's legacy of providing housing to those who need it at an affordable level. It really aligns with our mission to tackle the main cause of homelessness, which is housing, Williams added to Fox 11. Reese's family requested that loved ones and friends donate to one of his favorite charitable organizations in lieu of flowers, hoping to make a ripple effect of Reese's final generous acts. By expanding access to stable, affordable housing, Pillars is helping more individuals and families build a foundation for long-term success and well-being, Appleton Community Development Director Kara Holman told Fox 11. This is the kind of partnership and generosity that truly moves our community forward. That is really cool. In honor of Richard Dick Rietz, who gave up all of his portfolio of rental estate so that others may have homes when they're trying to land on their feet. Cheers. This next one we called, Somebody Tell George R.R. Martin About This Deal. And when I go through it, you'll understand why. I'll copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. James Patterson offers new writers up to $50,000 to finish their books. This was published to CBS News on September 3rd of 2025 by the Associated Press. After years of giving millions of dollars to literacy programs, bookstore employees, and librarians, James Patterson has now launched an initiative on behalf of emerging authors. The best-selling novelist and true crime writer announced Wednesday the first 12 recipients of grants from his Go Finish Your Book campaign will each receive up to $50,000. He announced the first 12 recipients of his grants for the Go Finish Your Book campaign, and each of these authors will receive up to $50,000 to help them complete their manuscripts. A little bit of screaming in the chat. Charlie, hello, Charlie. So George R.R. Martin is the author of Song of Ice and Fire, the Game of Thrones series, or the Song of Ice and Fire series with like Game of Thrones and such, and is just notorious for not finishing his work. Maybe we need to get him in on this. I don't know. He doesn't need the money, but maybe it'll whip a fire under his ass to get his books done. There are so many incredible stories out there that never get written because life gets in the way. I wanted to give these writers a little time, a little space, and a push to say, your voice matters. Now go finish your book, Patterson said in a statement. Patterson's new program was organized in partnership with PEN America, the Authors Guild, and the Iowa Writers Workshop, among other organizations. The inaugural recipients, drawn from hundreds of submissions, are working on books in genres ranging from memoirs to graphic novels. One author, Jungen Angie Lee, hopes to finish a short story collection. I aim to write a thoughtful, meaningful, powerful book that sheds light on friendship, family, and disability, particularly the intricacies of giving and receiving care. And the Go Finish Your Book grant comes to me as an extremely generous, much-needed burst of motivation and boost of confidence, Lee said in a statement. To James Patterson for beginning to offer up to $50,000 for new writers to be able to finish their books, and for all of the new and continuing writers out there producing literature of all genres. Cheers. And Julie says, "Finish your damn book, George." Producer Donna, "Only 2 more books to go before he dies." We call this next one, "You Don't Get More Canadian Than This." I'll copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Anybody else feeling a little hot in a onesie? Just me? Okay. Such a Canadiana experience. British Columbia teen rescues baby beaver from river rapids. This was published to CTV News on September 10th of 2025 by Adam Sawatsky. Is this a hold my beer article? Maybe. Some of these double dip in titles a lot, Becky. Connor Bellinger and his mom Liz didn't need to look at pictures from their recent tubing trip to remember the sound they'll never forget. Julie says, "More Canadian than poutine and Molson beer." Charlie says, "Hold my syrup." Producer Donna says it's an aw article. Here we go. "A very strange kind of high-pitched squeaking," Liz Bellinger said, "a sound that I'd never heard before. Liz was moving down the river too fast to see where it was coming from, but her son Connor was far enough behind her to spot something struggling in the rapids. So the 16-year-old paddled closer and reached out to help. It kind of clawed its way up into my palm," Connor said, "and then I scooped it up. It wasn't until the animal was safely in his arms that Connor saw its tiny tail and realized he'd saved a baby beaver. It felt awesome," Connor said with a smile, "and I felt super protective of it immediately." After it stopped breathing heavily, the baby started falling asleep in Connor's arms. The beaver cuddled close for the next hour until they reached the tubing pickup point down the river. "If anyone is going to have this experience, it's going to be Connor," Liz said. "He just has so much empathy for animals." When they got to shore, they marked the specific location where they'd found the beaver on a map and started reaching out for someone official to help with the baby that they'd named Chip. "She would open her little eyes, look around, and then snuggle back in and burrow into our arms," Liz says, showing photos and video of the whole experience. The family took turns cradling the baby as they drove an hour and a half out of their way to the North Island Wildlife Rescue Association. "It was really good they found the beaver when they did," said animal care technician Joanna Smith. "Without Mom, there's no way she would have survived. The baby was just a week old and likely was swept out of her den before floating too far downriver for her family to find her. But thanks to the actions of Connor and his family, and after a few weeks in care, the baby beaver, named Little Timber, is thriving. She's a busy beaver," Joanna laughed. "She's doing all the beaver things. She's adorable." While the beaver is expected to be released back into the wild in about 18 months, in the same location the Bellingers made a note of marking on their map, Liz and Connor will be able to look back fondly on their time with Little Timber forever. "It's such a Canadian experience," Liz laughs. "We rescued a baby beaver. Who gets to do that?" Oh my gosh. To Liz and Connor, what was the last name? Bellinger, for rescuing a little baby beaver from rapids in British Columbia. Cheers. Beavers doing beaver things. They were just tubing and they found a beaver at random. All right. We called this next one First and Hopefully Not Last. I will copy and paste this into the chat if you all want to read along. Becky says, right place, right time. Dirty Rogue said beaver's doing beaver things. New Mexico set to become first U.S. state to guarantee free child care. This was published on September 8th of 2025, updated September 15th of 2025 on KOB4 News by Jonathan Feld. Feld? It's F-J-E-L-D. It does weird things. I'm going to go with Feld, but I'm wrong. New Mexico's Child Care Assistance Program is set to expand and become the first universal program in the U.S., the governor announced on Monday. New Mexico Democratic Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, I think it's Lujan Grisham, said the state is eliminating the income eligibility requirements of its current child care assistance program to do this. Currently, the program waives co-payments for New Mexico families with incomes at or below 400% of the federal poverty level. That allows those families to pay little to no child care costs. In November, that will now apply to all families. The state estimates this expansion will save families an average of $12,000 per child. It's the difference between making it when inflation in this country remains too high, particularly in areas like food, things that families have to raise their families, the governor said. With the expansion comes increased demand for child care facilities. New Mexico estimates they will need an additional 5,000 early childhood professionals to achieve a universal system. They plan to increase reimbursement rates and give incentives to programs committing to pay entry-level staff a minimum of $18 per hour and offer 10 hours of care per day, 5 days a week. The state also plans to do the following to improve the supply of care. Establish a $12.7 million low-interest loan fund to construct, expand, and renovate child care facilities. Additional $20 million requested in the fiscal year 2027 budget. Target growth to focus on care for infants, toddlers, low-income families, and children with special needs. Partner with employers and school districts to expand child care options for working families. Launch a statewide campaign to recruit licensed and registered home providers. Early childhood care and education is a public good, said Elizabeth Groginski, Secretary of the New Mexico's Early Childhood Education Care Department. By providing universal access and improving pay for our early childhood workforce, we are easing financial pressure on families, strengthening our economy, and helping every child learn in safe, nurturing environments. This is the kind of investment that builds equity today and prosperity for the future. More information on how to access universal child care benefits if you're in the New Mexico area, and more, is available at a website in the article. There are two statements. There is a statement from New Mexico Senate Republican leader Bill Scherer, Republican from Farmington. And there is a statement from Democratic Party of New Mexico Chair Sarah Adelson. If you would like, go through those at your leisure. Otherwise, I just want to focus on how good that is, that there is now going to be an offer of universal child care in New Mexico. To everybody involved with passing such legislation and helping to provide good, safe, nurturing environments for children, all children, cheers. I hope that it spreads. Becky says, hopefully other states will follow ASAP. Producer Donna, I hope so too. I believe it will be on California's ballot in November. I'm betting Oregon and Washington aren't too far behind. Becky remembers when they had to quit their job because it was cheaper to stay at home than work and pay for daycare. Producer Donna, it's so hard, especially for single parents and single income households. I didn't feel good about it, said Becky. I am sorry that you had to go through that, Becky. Yeah, I am all for universal child care of this nature. It's becoming harder and harder for any parent, I'm sure. You know, daycare. I was just told the price of daycare is exorbitant. So, and I don't even have kids yet. We called this next one, Well, I Would Walk 1,500 Miles. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Hopefully that little bit wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to get us copyright struck. Charlie says it's about as much as a mortgage or can be. Jeez. Ugh. Man walks from Grand Haven, Michigan to Miami, Florida to raise awareness about mental health. This article was published to Wood TV 8 on August 31st of 2025 by Tessa Kresh. A West Michigan man is on a journey on foot from the Grand Haven area all the way to Miami to raise awareness for mental illness. Lee Johns, originally from Montague, is calling it the Long Walk Project. Every step he is taking is for someone who feels they can't take another. I had a few family members struggling with mental health, even myself a little bit, and it just never really gets addressed, he said. I want to change that. He knows what it feels like to carry weight that no one sees. Now, he's carrying that message, along with a 60-pound pack, on a nearly 1,500-mile journey. Mental health doesn't have a finish line, he wrote on his GoFundMe page, which the link is in the description of our video. It doesn't clock out at 5 p.m., and it doesn't care how tough you pretend to be. And I believe that even one person walking solo across the country can spark conversations, raise awareness, and offer hope to someone who needs it. As of Sunday afternoon, his 26th day on foot, he had already walked more than 280 miles. I just took off. I just left, he said. I just wake up each morning, check the map, and kind of figure out where I want to make it. Charlie says, I just let mine, referring to her kids, out in the woods. Faye keeps giving them back. Oh, that's horrible. Charlie is a fantastic mother, actually, so not worried. She would fight the Fae for her children. He carries treading poles, a solar panel, battery packs, water, an inflatable pillow in bed, a blanket, a tent, a chair, a first aid kit, and more. With all of that on his back, most days, he walks between 15 to 20 miles with no support team. It's just him, the road, and a cause. The road may be lonely, but he said the people he has met are the unexpected highlight. You'd be surprised by all the cool people you run into on a daily basis, John said. Some people have offered a couch to sleep on, a yard to camp on, and sometimes lasting friendship. I don't really know where I'm going to end up each day, he said. That's kind of part of the journey, just trying to figure out each day. Every day he documents his journey and shares it to social media sites like TikTok and YouTube. He hopes people who are watching know that anything is possible if you put your mind to it. I never thought I'd be walking across the country, he said. I just take it one day at a time. I hope someone can see that maybe they're going through something, and maybe they can see it's not as hard as they thought it might be. You just gotta keep trying at it. Eventually, you'll get to your destination. With still more than 1,000 miles to go, John said that this is just the beginning. After he arrives in Miami, he plans to continue his journey headed towards San Diego. The other end of the country. Life's not as difficult as we make it seem like it is, he said. It's not that hard. You just gotta wake up and do something. All the money Johns raises is going to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which provides education, support, advocacy, and resources for individuals, families, and communities. He said even if the fundraiser grows slowly, the goal is to start a conversation, one step at a time. Charlie says, so where is he at now? So he's 280 miles southward. I'm not quite sure where that puts him right now. I'd have to look at a map of the country. Bro's hauling ass for a good cause. Becky says the new Forrest Gump. To Lee Johns, who is walking from Grand Haven, Michigan, to Miami, Florida, to raise awareness for mental health. Cheers. I will, however, say that I do not agree with some of the things that he stated in here. One of the lines right there, life's not as difficult as we make it seem like it is. I do not agree with that. I believe that life has varying degrees of difficulty and it can ramp up and ramp down without warning at any time. And it is all relative to who you are and the kind of level of what you can take. We have to keep that in mind when we're discussing mental health, that everybody's levels of how much, you can bear are very different, wildly different from one another, and we need to be aware of those things. So, there are going to be times when it feels like everything's too much. I've had those times. I don't think I know anybody that hasn't been through some moment when the world really felt like it was too much. And I am happy that all of you that I've had that conversation with are still here. I really am. So, yeah. Mental health is something that we must take seriously. By all means, for your own sake, take your mental health seriously. If it's getting bad, take a day. If it's too much, take all the time you need. You will get to, just like John stated, you will get to your destination, and it will be a good one. And I will support you 100% of the way. Cheers, everybody. I am glad we're all here, said Nico, and I think that is a great quote. I am glad we're all here. This next one we called How Chewy Got His Groove Back. I'll copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Mangy Shih Tzu wandering streets gets new home as 75 seniors in a care home unite to adopt him. This was published to goodnewsnetwork.org on September 14th of 2025 by Nathan Frederick. A few months ago, it seemed like he was the dog no one wanted. Now he's got a new leash on life with lots of seniors doting over him. The black and gray Shih Tzu was found wandering the streets of Austin, Texas. His fur was overgrown and matted. He had no tags and no owner looking for him either. The 7-year-old pup had likely been homeless for months. He was found by an employee of the Philomena, an assisted living center in Kyle, Texas, run by Priscilla Duran. She's a lover of dogs, so she took him to her vet, where they discovered he had a microchip, a name, and an owner. But when Mrs. Duran contacted them about Chewy, they said they didn't want the pooch anymore. And they even quickly blocked any phone number she called from, thwarting any more communication attempts. It was clear Chewy needed a new home, and that's where the Philomena would come to the rescue. I said, "What if he's our dog?" Duran told the Hayes Free Press. Because at that point, it became very clear that he's so good with people. He's good with other dogs. He was already housebroken, well-mannered, and didn't bark at anything. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body. He's just the chillest, coolest little guy. Becky says, all I can think of now is Chewy disco dancing with that title. Charlie says, I can just imagine he's going to be in little sweaters and getting fat from all the treats. Charlie, check the article. They dress him up. He's adorable. Now, the dog that no one seemed to want has become a beloved member of the Philomena family. He's a regular visitor to the front office, greeting all those who enter and exit. And on some days, he's dressed up, looking like he's going out on the town. He has the biggest smile, everybody. Please look at the article. He smiles so well. Christian says he has better fashion sense than I do. Christian, don't put yourself down like that. Seriously, everybody, look at this article. This dog is amazing. Chewy regularly joins the residents for Scrabble nights, lazing in their laps and getting lots of scratches behind the ears. He enjoys frequent rides on the residents' walkers and leaves a trail of happiness everywhere he goes. Our residents understand what it's like to start fresh somewhere new, Duran said in an interview with CBS Austin. Just like they found a welcoming place here, Chewy has too. He's more than a pet. He's part of our community. Although he's not an official therapy dog, this four-legged bundle of joy provides those same services. For instance, the pooch works wonders with patients suffering from dementia, and some residents who struggle to communicate are suddenly sharing a few words to express how happy Chewy makes them feel. I've not seen him pass anybody who does not grin ear to ear by seeing this little dog, says Duran. Even in memory care, when words are not enough, you realize, with an animal and somebody with dementia, words aren't needed. Dogs are just proof that actions speak louder than words. The wayward dog who had no home has found a new one, and now he's making the place a little brighter for everyone who lives there. What was her full name? Priscilla Duran, an employee of the Philomena Assisted Living Center in Kyle, Texas, for picking up Chewy and giving him a new look and a new home and a new leash on life, and to Chewy for bringing joy to the people of the Philomena. Cheers. All right, we titled our next one, Book Prohibition? Not on Carrie's Watch. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Author outfits old pickup truck to be a traveling band bookstore. A rolling rebellion in the deep south. This was published at goodgoodgood.co on September 18th of 2025 by Cameron Baker. Carrie Fugit is a military widow, author, mother, and Southerner. She is the author of the memoir Alive Day, about her experience as a military spouse. Born and raised in Alabama and intimately familiar with the inner workings of the United States military, she knows war. And she has watched what she calls a war on knowledge unfold in her community. In March of this year, an Alabama board voted to defund a local library under a new book ban law, removing state funds from the Fair Hope branch after parents criticized the library for carrying what they called sexually explicit books that depicted LGBTQ+ stories. Something about it happening so close to home struck a chord with me, she told the Alabama Political Reporter. Now, Alabama is tossing around the idea of banning books portraying trans folks. It's just wrong. Reading about perspectives and ideas and lives of people different than us is what builds empathy, and my goodness, we need so much more of that in this country right now. Fugit said she knows firsthand how this kind of censorship can impact someone's life. As a kid, the adults in my life didn't want me exposed to certain information, and I did and believed things out of ignorance that were so harmful to others, she wrote in a GoFundMe campaign to raise funds for her new project. It wasn't until I got to college that I experienced the kind of awakening that only comes from being exposed to stories and truths told from perspectives beyond my own. That experience changed my life. It made me a better human, and that experience fuels the work I'm doing now. The work she's doing now? Converting a rusty 1940 Ford pickup truck into a traveling band bookstore. She calls it the Bandwagon. I was originally thinking of opening a regular bookstore, but after the fight over banning books in Fairhope, I was inspired to go this route instead, Fugit shared with the Alabama Political Reporter. Becky says this is a dumb reason to ban anything. People need to be informed and educated about different walks of life, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. Her goal with the bandwagon is, I love the name, Nico, the bandwagon. Yes, it's the bandwagon. Her goal with the bandwagon is to put banned and challenged books back into the hands of the people who need them most. That includes LGBTQ plus youth and other marginalized communities. But Fugit also knows that everyone needs access to books that challenge their worldview. Every American deserves the chance to learn and grow into empathetic, thoughtful citizens, she wrote. And that begins with access to voices, stories, and histories that expand their understanding of the world and the people in it, especially in today's polarized political climate. With a background in teaching high school and college students, as well as her work as a writer, she also hopes that the truck will serve as a meeting point for workshops and events. She envisions book discussions, open mics, and chats about censorship meant to show people these books aren't as scary as some of them want to believe. Fugit also plans to stock plants and antiques to curate a full bookstore experience. She admits in a Facebook post that it's a risky idea, especially in the South. That proves just how much it's needed here, she said. It's worth the risk, especially right now. In addition to the especially precarious nature of book ban policies in Alabama, challenges to books in schools and public libraries is on the rise nationwide. The latest data from the American Library Association tracked 821 attempts to censor library materials and services in 2024. In those cases, a total of 2,452 unique titles were challenged. In schools, PEN America tracked over 10,000 instances of book bans in the 2023-2024 school year, including challenges to 4,231 unique titles. In that same year, the states that saw the most challenges included Iowa, Florida, and Texas. But southern states also show a large concentration of efforts to remove books from schools. Over the last 3 school years, book bans occurred in 43 states and 415 public school districts, PEN America concluded. These numbers add fuel to Fugit's fire. Bless their hearts, they thought banning books in the South would keep folks from reading them, Fugit wrote on her personal Instagram page. Well, they're wrong. All it's done is make me want to fight back. She added that the project is bigger than just her. It's a rebellion against the war on knowledge, right in the heart of the South, where it's needed the most, she wrote. It's a rebellion against censorship, against ignorance, against apathy, against the erasure of voices and histories. Right now, Fugit is working to raise funds to restore the truck and get the operation up and running. At the time of this writing, her GoFundMe campaign is a little over a quarter of the way to her $4,000 goal. I believe reading diverse stories is essential if we want to move toward a kinder, more peaceful world. Banning books is simply moving in the wrong direction as a species, and this is my small way of fighting back, Fugit wrote in her call to action. My dream? A little truck full of banned books rolling through the South, spreading truth, freedom, and hope. One story at a time. That is awesome. Uh-oh, when a southern lady says, "Bless your heart, you dung goofed," says Dirty Rogue. That's good. Oh, man. To Carrie Fugit and her The Bandwagon project to basically make a mobile banned bookstore on wheels. Cheers. I believe her GoFundMe is in the link, has a link in our description of this video. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Yes, it'll be in there. This next story we titled, "One of Us, One of Us." I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Tiny goat triplet shunned at birth is now thriving after 2 sheepdogs adopt her and teach her to be a border collie. Oh, to be a collie. This was published to goodnewsnetwork.org on August 11th of 2025 by goodnewsnetwork.org. A tiny goat triplet shunned at birth is thriving after she was taken in by 2 sheepdogs. It was just 1/3 of the typical weight of a baby goat, and only 5 inches high at birth, compared to healthy newborns that stand roughly a foot high. While her healthy sisters had normal birth weights, the runt named Lil couldn't stand up or suckle. Born second, Lil was getting cold while the mother began washing the other 2, who were standing and feeding. So the farm staff at Wiltshire, England had to step in. Farm manager Julia Stewart and the team used Betsy's milk to tube feed Lil, and they rubbed her with straw and wrapped her up in towels to keep her dry and warm. They left her with Mom overnight and checked in to feed her every hour, but it was clear she was getting weaker. In the morning, Lil was brought into the caravan, which is used as an office and staff room, and the 2 dogs, border collies, immediately claimed her as their own. The farm's working sheepdogs, Luna and Naya, took an instant like to Lil. They stepped in as surrogate parents, washing her, playing with her, and snuggling up to her to sleep. Once so cold and shivery that Julia's friend made a special suit for her to wear out of an old sock, Lil is now 5 weeks old and is growing stronger. She is even learning to round up the flock like her sheepdog companions. She's utterly adorable and great fun, Julia told SWNS News. And she definitely thinks she's a dog. When she was born, she was so tiny she could sit in one of my hands. She could hardly keep her head up. You don't take them away from their mom unless you really have to. Lil and her sisters are among 14 kids born this year at the Studley Grange Farm Park, which has 15 adult goats this year as part of the petting zoo. Lil gets very vocal if she's left in with the other goats, preferring to follow Julia and the dogs around. Lil will always have that special bond with the dogs, says Julia. That's why the team plans to keep up Lil's sheepdog training, with Naya as her best friend and tutor. She'll always be special and different. And if you check out that article, you're going to see that this little goat looks like the border collies. She's black and white, which is the color pattern of the border collies. It's bonkers. Oh, man. To farm manager Julia Stewart for rescuing Lil the goat, and to Luna and Naya, the 2 border collies that took her in and are now teaching her how to be a border collie as opposed to a goat. Cheers. All right, that's going to bring us to our final article of the night. This one hits close to home, and I'm sure affects many other Nick's newsies. We titled this one, Respectfully, Cancer, Fuck Right Off. I am not a fan of cancer. I don't think anybody is a fan of cancer. I'm especially not a fan of cancer in recent months for my friends and for my family. So any article that we ever get that's about fighting cancer, beating cancer, doing good things to triumph over cancer or to help others triumph over cancer, we will always showcase these articles. Hello, Rosalia. Yes, Godzilla is drinking. I will copy and paste this into the chat if you all want to read along. Becky, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Soldier plans to give away more than $50,000 donated for his cancer treatment. This was published to the Gazette on September 2nd of 2025 by Mary Shin. After donors gave more than $50,000 to Fort Carson Sergeant First Class David Hong to cover the cost of a new cancer treatment, the soldier now expects to give it all away to other cancer patients. I was just blown away, Hong said, about the outpouring of support. Hong, a religious affairs specialist, wants to see the money help other veterans and soldiers with cancer after his insurance provider, TRICARE, changed its position and paid for the treatment called histotripsy to remove tumors from his liver. That's the right thing, you know, he said, noting he expects donors will feel similarly. Hong was diagnosed in July of 2022 and has been through numerous treatments for the stage 4 colon cancer that spread to other areas of his body, such as his liver and lungs. The care had included 23 chemotherapy treatments and several surgeries, including one that removed part of his liver. In mid-August at HCA Health One Presbyterian St. Luke's in Denver, Hong got the histotripsy procedure that relies on ultrasound to liquefy tumors and places far less strain on the body than surgery. The dead tumor cells leave the body naturally, and it doesn't require any heat, radiation, or chemotherapy. The Food and Drug Administration approved the machine that delivers ultrasound waves, called the Edison system, for use in 2023. The maker, Histosonics, is also testing the technology to treat kidney tumors. While the treatment is new, Medicare covers histotripsy when it is deemed necessary, and it is gaining acceptance among private insurers. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield announced it would cover the treatment for its customers in New York, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia in July, according to a news release. Hong said he hopes his story raises awareness about the importance of histotripsy as a less invasive option for cancer patients. You always have that one person that needs to make different organizations understand that this treatment is the future, and they need to accept it, and they need to allow it, he said. Sid's commander. Hong believes his cancer was caused by his service in Afghanistan, in part because he doesn't have a history of colon cancer in his family. Research through the Hunter 7 Foundation found a few years ago that 520,966 active duty service members since 9/11 have been diagnosed with cancer. The Department of Veterans Affairs also now assumes that a litany of cancers in post 9/11 veterans are caused by exposure to toxic burn pits. The Hunter 7 Foundation raised the money for Hong through Zephy, a fee-free fundraising platform for nonprofits, in an outpouring that exceeded the $45,000 requested. The foundation will be in charge of distributing the money to others. I'm very thankful for the support, but it's going to go to a greater cause, he said. A week after his histotripsy in late August, Hong said he hoped to start working out again in a few days, and he was aiming to participate in the Department of Defense's Warrior Games next year as he did this summer. He is looking forward to sit-down volleyball, the rowing team, and archery. He particularly loves team sports. The adaptive sports helped him through the stress of his treatment, both mentally and physically. Transitioning to a vegan diet also made a huge difference, he said, noting it was a big change for an immigrant from Brazil used to a meat-heavy diet. He is also medically retiring from the Army. After enlisting at 36, he is now 52 and expects to stay in Colorado Springs and spend time with his family, including his wife Monica and his 3 daughters. I want to get his full title correct. Fort Carson Sergeant First Class David Hong, who's taking over the more than $50,000 that were donated to him and is redistributing that back to other individuals afflicted with cancer so that it can pay towards their medical bills and their treatments. Cheers. If you or anybody you know, if you are going through a battle with cancer, it's going to sound difficult, but I would advise that you reach out, because there's a lot of people that you're going to find who are going to be on your side and supporting you through your path back to health and beating cancer. If you know somebody that is going through a battle with cancer, ask them what they need. Sometimes they don't need money, and what they need is just for you to send them a message now and then. Talk to them. Say hey. Send a joke. Let them know that they're going to get through this. So be mindful of these fights that people are fighting and be there to help and ask for help. It can be tough. It can be scary. But especially when you're going through that kind of stuff, it helps. I have never heard it not helping. Either to ask for help and receive it from others when you're fighting that battle, or helping the people you know who are fighting it. So, cheers. Becky says a card. Donna says offer babysitting so they can have a day alone with their spouse. Just things like that. Anything like that can help. So that's it for us tonight. 9 wholesome notes. A onesie episode because I went and dared producer Donna that she couldn't make a whole episode out of wholesome notes. And here we are. Thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube page. We're live every Sunday, and our next episode will be on September 28th of 2025, and it will be a chat and chill. That's right. We're not going to have any articles. We're not going to have much more news. We're just going to chat and chill for an hour. I've got a really cool news brew lined up that will debut on our Instagram on Thursday, so keep an eye out for it if you're signed up to our Instagram. If you're not, please do. Links are in the description, and you can get updates and little sneak peeks at our news brews for the future episodes. I encourage participation. We encourage participation. So by all means, if you feel inclined to post suggestions for news brews, shout-outs, quotes, and good news articles we can present on future episodes, by all means, get them to us. We love hearing from all of you. If you send in a bunch of articles, please spread those out across our usual 4 major categories, which are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, and wholesome notes, like this whole episode was. You can message us on Facebook, on Instagram, or email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. We do keep an eye on everything. So yeah, we love hearing from all of you. Feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok content so that we can continue to get good news spread and joy spread out into the algorithm. We are bombarded with bad news. It is just one hit after the other. I can't thank you all enough for everything you've done with continuing to spread our content. We do little advertisements, but otherwise we're not putting a lot of money into advertisements. All of our growth, a lot of our growth has been thanks to all of you. I can't thank you all enough for that. So yeah, if you are messaging about SEO improvement advertisements, we're not interested. But everything else, thank you all so much. All the interactions help. As always, thank you again. I love you all. Have a great night. And I will play us out.